Motivation is an emotion, and like all emotions, it's temporary. It comes in waves, high one day, gone the next. You can wake up today inspired to conquer the world, but tomorrow that fire might flicker out when life throws chaos in your path. And that's the problem with relying on motivation. It's unstable. It cannot be the foundation of your grind, your dreams, or your discipline, because the minute it vanishes, and it will, you'll stop moving, you'll hesitate, you'll delay. That's why the most successful people in the world don't build their empires on fleeting feelings. They build them on consistency, on the power of showing up, even when every part of them wants to quit. We've all been there. That moment when you say, I don't feel like it today. And maybe you convince yourself that skipping one workout, one chapter, one cold call won't matter, but it does. Because what you're really doing is strengthening the muscle of procrastination and weakening your identity as a doer. Motivation lets you start, but only consistency makes you finish. Think about it. Anyone can be fired up for a day or a week, but can you keep grinding for a month, a year, a decade? That's the real test. That's the difference between being interested and being committed. Interest depends on mood. Commitment depends on consistency. When you are consistent, you eliminate the need to negotiate with yourself. You stop giving yourself the option to skip. You move from emotional decision-making to disciplined execution. You don't ask, do I feel like it? You just do it. And that shift is powerful, because once you stop making decisions based on emotions, you gain control. You become dangerous. You start living with intent, not impulse. Motivation needs the perfect mood, the perfect environment, the perfect playlist. But consistency shows up in the storm, in the chaos, in the mess of life, and still delivers. The people who succeed are not the ones who are always hyped. They're the ones who keep going when the hype dies. They're the ones who keep pushing even when they don't see immediate results. They understand that every day isn't supposed to feel good. Every rep isn't going to feel amazing, but each one counts. And that's the beauty of consistency. It doesn't require perfection, only repetition. Small, repeated actions done daily will always beat rare bursts of massive effort. 10 minutes a day over a year will outperform 10 hours once in a blue moon. Let's get real. If motivation was enough, everyone would be successful. Everyone has moments of inspiration. Everyone gets excited at the beginning, but excitement doesn't build legacies. Consistency does. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they stop. They quit after the excitement wears off. They wait for the right mood to return instead of building the discipline to press on. But the rare few, the disciplined, the consistent, understand that their future is shaped not by what they feel, but by what they repeatedly do. So ask yourself, are you only putting in work when it feels good, when it's convenient, when you're in the mood, or are you the type who shows up no matter what? That answer will determine everything, because motivation might get your feet moving, but only consistency will carry you through the storms, the setbacks, the days when the world feels heavy. And if you want to win in life, truly win, you must learn to become consistent. Not when it's easy, but when it's hardest. That's where the breakthrough lives. That's where you separate from the crowd. Success isn't born in a single moment of glory. It's built quietly, patiently, and relentlessly in the grind that most people overlook. The world loves to praise the highlight reel, the applause, the awards, but what it never shows you is the repetition, the silence, the hours spent mastering the same skill over and over again while no one's watching. Real success is a result of boring, unsexy, disciplined effort that compounds over time. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's real, and it's where the transformation takes place. You don't wake up successful. You wake up and work for it every day. People are obsessed with big leaps, but it's the small steps done consistently that lead to greatness. Every day you wake up and choose discipline over distraction, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your future. That early morning workout, that extra hour of studying, that one more call or rep or post, it adds up. Most people miss this because they're looking for explosive growth, instant gratification, immediate validation. But success doesn't work like that. It rewards those who grind without applause. It honors those who refuse to let their foot off the gas even when progress feels invisible. You won't always feel like you're getting better. Some days will feel like setbacks. Some days you question why you're even trying. But the daily grind isn't supposed to feel glamorous. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to test whether you're truly serious about your goals. That's the filter. That's what separates the few who rise from the many who give up. Most people are chasing comfort, but growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the grind, in the commitment to do the work even when results are delayed, even when no one's clapping, even when your mind screams for rest. The people you admire didn't skip the grind. They embraced it. They stayed faithful to the process when it was hard, when it was lonely, and when no one believed in them. You can't cheat this. You can't fake daily effort. Success demands your sweat, your patience, and your focus. It demands that you get up when you're tired, keep going when you're uninspired, and push forward when everyone else is coasted. The daily grind isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every day you grind, you're sharpening your edge. You're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you're not here to play. You're here to dominate. And don't think the grind is only physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's how you train your mind to stay locked in when distractions pull at you. It's how you learn to trust the process even when the path isn't clear. Every single task, no matter how small, matters because it's not just about the work. It's about who you become through the work. Every decision to grind shapes your identity. It turns you from someone who wants success into someone who's willing to earn it. You stop wishing and start building. You stop hoping and start acting. There's no shortcut to mastery, no elevator to the top. You climb one step, one rep, one choice at a time. That's the grind. That's the reality. And while most will complain, stall, or quit, the few who embrace the grind will rise. Not because they're lucky or smarter, but because they chose to do the hard things daily. That's the formula. That's the code. You show up, you put in the work, and you do it again tomorrow because success doesn't come to those who do the work occasionally. It comes to those who live in the grind, breathe it, and never stop pushing through it. ChatGPT said, repetition is where greatness begins, not in the rush of new ideas or the thrill of starting something fresh, but in the quiet, determined return to the same process, the same fundamentals, day after day. Mastery is not gifted. It is earned in the moments most people ignore. It's built in the discipline to do it again and again and again until what once felt impossible becomes second nature. Repetition trains the body, sharpens the mind, and refines the soul. It strips away weakness and builds muscle, both physical and mental. There is no elite level of anything without deep, relentless repetition behind it. Look at anyone who's world-class at what they do, whether it's an athlete, a speaker, a musician, or an entrepreneur. They didn't get there by doing something once or twice. They repeated the basics until the basics became brilliance. They didn't quit when it got boring. They didn't move on when it got tough. They stayed, they drilled, they refined. Repetition is the gateway to instinct. It transforms conscious effort into automatic excellence. When you repeat something long enough, you don't have to think. You just execute. That's what separates the amateur from the master. The amateur practices until they get it right, but the master practices until they can't get it wrong. The beauty of repetition is that it teaches humility. It reminds you that you're not above the basics, that no matter how far you go, you must return to the fundamentals. Repetition forces you to slow down, to pay attention to the details, to understand that mastery is not about doing more, it's about doing better. And you can't do better without repetition. Every repetition is an opportunity to improve, to discover something new in the familiar, to squeeze out just 1% more. And those tiny gains, they compound into greatness over time. What repetition also does is condition your mindset. It teaches you to be patient. It builds mental toughness, because the truth is repetition can be grueling. It can be frustrating. Doing the same thing over and over without seeing instant results can feel like a waste, but it's not. It's the most powerful investment you'll ever make in yourself. Every time you repeat, you deepen your skill, you increase your confidence, and you reinforce your belief in your ability. It's not just your talent that grows. It's your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying, and you start becoming someone who is. That's the silent power of repetition. It transforms you from within. It changes your standards. It rewires your brain for excellence. And most importantly, it separates the committed from the curious. Curious people dabble. They try a few times, get bored, and leave. But committed people, they endure. They stay through the boredom, through the plateaus, through the doubt, because they know what lies on the other side of repetition is mastery. And mastery is what gives you the edge. It's what makes you undeniable. In a world obsessed with shortcuts and hacks, repetition is the long road, but it's the only road that leads to something real. You don't get respect from doing something once. You earn respect by showing up and doing it again, refining it every time, and becoming a force that cannot be ignored. You become known not for trying, but for becoming. Repetition makes you a professional. It builds your rhythm, your timing, your precision. It turns struggle into flow, effort into ease. So if you want mastery, don't chase the next shiny trick. Lock in, repeat, refine, and evolve. That's the only way. There will be days when you wake up feeling drained, mentally, emotionally, physically. The fire you once felt will seem faint. Your willpower, once strong and steady, might feel non-existent. But success can't afford to wait for your feelings to catch up. That's where habits come in. Habits are the systems you build in the calm to carry you through the chaos. When your motivation falters and your willpower is low, your habits step in like silent warriors, moving you forward even when your mind says stop. They're the safety net between who you are now and who you're trying to become. Most people rely on willpower as if it's infinite, but it's not. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. Every decision you make, every challenge you face, every distraction you resist, it all chips away at your strength to make more choices. That's why even the most disciplined people don't rely on raw willpower alone. They rely on structure. They rely on routine. They create habits so strong, so ingrained that action becomes automatic. They don't leave their goals to chance. They build patterns that make success the default, not the exception. Habits simplify the process. They remove friction. They remove thinking. And when you're exhausted, that's exactly what you need. Think of habits as pre-programmed commands for your life. When you've trained your body and mind to do something the same way every day, it no longer feels like effort. It becomes identity. You stop debating whether to do it. You stop negotiating with your weaker self. It becomes part of who you are. If you're a runner, you don't argue with yourself every morning about lacing up. You just do. If you're a writer, you sit down and write whether inspiration is present or not. Habits create consistency, and consistency over time creates results. That's the formula. That's the bridge between effort and excellence. The key is not to wait until you feel like doing it. That moment may never come. The key is to train your body to move, your mind to engage, and your soul to commit regardless of mood. That kind of discipline doesn't just show up. It's earned through habit. You might not be motivated to go to the gym, but if it's your habit, you go. You might not feel like making that sales call, but if it's your habit, you do it. You act first. Feelings follow later. The action rewires your brain, reinforcing the behavior, strengthening the loop. Eventually, your habits shape your reality more than your emotions ever could. Every time you follow through on your habit, even when you're tired or discouraged, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. You're proving to yourself that you are more than your circumstances, more than your temporary emotions. You're building internal trust. That trust compounds. It becomes confidence. It becomes power. You don't have to guess if you'll show up tomorrow because your habits already decided for you. And that's the real beauty of habits. They don't just help you perform better. They help you become someone who performs no matter what. So many people give up, not because they're incapable, but because they depend on willpower to carry them through life. But the truth is, your success cannot be built on something so fragile. It must be built on habits, on the small, repeated actions that you commit to daily. When the storm hits and your mind is full of doubt, your habits will anchor you. They will pull you back to your purpose, your goals, your path. That's the power of preparation. That's the strength of systems. Habits are not just tools. They are your survival kit in the war against inconsistency. The truth that most people don't want to hear is this: success doesn't come to those who work hard once in a while. It doesn't come to those who only give their best when it's convenient. It comes to those who grind relentlessly, day after day, even when the results aren't visible, even when the world doubts them, even when they feel like quitting. It's not enough to try. You have to keep trying. You have to stay locked in when everyone else loosens their grip. The gap between average and elite isn't talent. It's relentless effort. The willingness to keep pushing when others have already stopped. So many people start strong. They show up excited, full of energy, ready to conquer their goals. But they fade when things get hard, when the obstacles show up, when the rewards don't come fast enough. They forget that the seeds of success are buried deep and take time to grow. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not working. Every drop of sweat, every long night, every early morning, every sacrifice, it's all building something powerful, something lasting. The ones who win are the ones who outlast, not just outwork. They keep hammering long after the noise has died down. There's a reason why so few people ever reach their full potential, because relentless effort requires more than skill. It requires obsession. It demands that you wake up every day with fire in your chest and a chip on your shoulder. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when no one is watching. It's about repeating the same disciplined action over and over until the world can no longer ignore your consistency. You can't dabble, you can't half step. Relentless effort means you're either all in or you're out. It's not a sometimes thing, it's an every time thing. The beauty of relentless effort is that it doesn't rely on instant feedback. It's not dependent on likes, applause, or praise. It lives in silence. It grows in solitude. It thrives in repetition. It's the late nights where you push one more hour. It's the workouts you crush when your body wants to rest. It's the preparation no one sees, the grind behind the curtain, that effort, invisible to most, compounds in ways you can't even imagine. And one day, all of that effort erupts into results so undeniable that the world is forced to take notice, not because you were lucky, but because you never stopped. Relentless effort builds something deeper than achievement. It builds character. It sharpens your resilience. It teaches you how to stand when everything around you tells you to sit. When you give your all and still don't see the outcome, but you keep giving anyway, that's where the real growth happens. That's where you level up. That's where you forge the version of yourself capable of handling the weight of the success you're chasing. Because real success doesn't just require effort. It requires a version of you that can carry the responsibility that comes with it. And that version is forged in relentless grind. People want results, but they don't want to suffer for them. They want greatness without the grind, but the two are inseparable. Results are the byproduct of sustained intensity. They are earned in moments of fatigue, in the cracks between comfort and pain. They come to those who are relentless, who refuse to back down, who wake up and do the work, whether they feel like it or not. That's how success is built, not in the comfort zone, not by waiting for the perfect time, but through unbreakable, day in, day out, relentless effort that does not stop until the goal is crushed. They come to those who are relentless, who refuse to back down, who wake up and do the work, whether they feel like it or not. That's how success is built, not in the comfort zone, not by waiting for the perfect time, but through unbreakable, day in, day out, relentless effort that does not stop until the goal is crushed.